Oh, excuse me. Hello, and welcome back to SideQuest. I really hope that's not that loud. But, yeah, hello, welcome back to SideQuest. Just real quick, just need to make sure my volume of my voice is not going over the, background sound. I'm a little loud. I think I'm a little loud. Maybe a little loud. Alright, let's try that. I don't know, maybe that'll work. But I'll just turn this down in my ear since it seems like that. So, how about this? So, welcome to SideQuest, your weekly podcast of a, side quest. We're not doing anything super special. We're not doing anything super awful. We're just, doing a side quest. It's not going to be, it shouldn't have anything to do with your main questing. But if it does, you're playing the wrong game. Excuse me. So, with that, we last week lost internet and bad internet connection, so I couldn't go through the entire stream. I also had to deal with summer school, which also cut my time down, which I was also dealing with other things going on and whatnot. So ultimately, could not get into, let's see, that's part 8. That's 12, 8. Sorry, I have to get through, I'm going to quickly go over last week's, NPC news, because I got cut off from that. I need to turn down this. I can hear that through my headphones. But you can't. I have a noise canceller for that, right? I think. The video. Anyhow, with that, gonna go through this. I am gonna go through this week's thing, but as always, we go through NPC news. First segment, second segment, Batman 0 Year. If you don't already know, we're on, I think, part 9. Let's see. That has a lot. Last week had a lot. No, it was part 8. Right? Yeah, I think so. I think I did that first before I did my my NPC news stuff. So, that being said, this will be should be straightforward. Sorry, I write down my notes instead of using it on like a PC and be like, oh yeah, there's that. I like my notes. I can read it, even though you probably couldn't. I have terrible handwriting. And, anyways. So, if you are new, this is the SideQuest podcast. I know I'm stalling the intro. NPC news is the first thing. And yeah, I've already said all that. But, thank you for joining me. Let me know if I miss anything. We're going back, and then we'll be going forward, and then, yeah. So going back to last week from the 16th to 23rd, real quick, I'm going to be just going through these so I can get through this whole day because I only have an hour. Let's see. So with celebrity news from previous week, women don't get along. Taylor Swift and Blake Lively, former besties over 2024 drama, snubbed from Swift's guest list. People celebrating Kelsey's bachelor party weekend. Yeah, I guess people did that for someone they didn't know. Anne Hathaway announced she was preggo on Instagram. Then in the movie news, we got... okay. This is going to change again. Toy Story 5 opened with 160 million. Disclosure Day dropped to 17 million second weekend. Obsession still making 14 million a week. Meanwhile, Backrooms and Scary Movie fizzle out. So that was last week. Shows. The Bear Season 5 trailer dropped showing the title character has already left the restaurant business. Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders got right in the global top 5 list for streaming metrics. Oh yeah. This is why I don't stream on Twitch or Kick. Bots. It's like, oh, he's stuck at 0 viewers, but can help me gain a lot. Yeah, I don't know why I'm on Twitch. I should really turn that off. I just wanted to get the voice out. That's fine. Squid Game Season 3 teased investors teased investors with a production update. Excuse me. So there's that. Then on to music. Hilary Duff's Lucky Me tour begins a sold-out show in Florida. Summer festivals are switching from cable to streaming. Music trackers confirm Post Malone's new country crossover sequel held. I guess I wrote sequel. Maybe I'm wrong on this. I don't know. Held number 1 for 1 week straight. Wow, we're really getting into this. I never even said the whole intro for NPC News. I'll do that when I get to the actual week. Later. Xbox Game Pass dropped more games in its Wave 2. Frostpunk 2 expansion comes out today. I honestly probably didn't even have to include that. Unless you play Frostpunk, I don't think it matters. Alright. Messi breaks World Cup history, scoring 18th goal in breaking tournament record. And then Star Wars, finally. Mando and Grogu sunk to 3.9 million take this last weekend. Or this last weekend. Not this last weekend. 2 weekends ago. 90-page studio leak. Allegedly, Hollywood insiders leaked a document mandating a corporate release limit of 1 movie, 2 shows a year. So there's that. And then Galaxy's Edge. Or no. We'll get that at. George Lucas. Rumors of cameo voice in Minions movie. Minions and Monsters, which debuts today. Am I going to see it? No, I'm going to go see Supergirl and Toy Story 5 on Friday. Galaxy's Edge Scrap Trading introduced formal pin trading boards and a scrap metal trading. So if you go down there, they do that kind of stuff. Excuse me. So, you have to pardon me there. So, I ended up going through all of that within, 8 minutes? That's not bad. That's a good recap of the previous week. I could definitely do this faster. But why would I?
How about no?
I don't think it's necessary. So, I'm dropping everything on my desk. Everything just all fell down. Everything. Should be worth noting that you don't have to be watching this to get the full immersion. This is podcast form. I will, when I get to 0 year, if I do get to any pictures, I will potentially show them. But it's best if you use your imagination on a bone monster in your mind that looks like a tree coming apart, expanding. Roots, if you will, something like that. I feel like you could picture that better. I feel like that's a little... I was being a little too loud there. Because I feel like I'm just hitting that roof of my mic. I don't want to do that. So, I don't know. It's just what I'm seeing when it comes down to my sound bar. Maybe I should turn it down a little more notch. Button. You can tell on how professional this is. I just like doing it. So, now we're on the proper side quest. 13, attempt 2 for this week, because I'm calling it attempt 2 because last week got abruptly canceled by the lack of internet. So, if you have not joined me for NPC News, granted you were just here for the last segment, that little short segment. This one should be a little bit more into depth, but it's not super into depth. Why? because this is NPC News, and I'm the NPC. You just have to listen to it. So, with that, we'll start with celebrity news. So, the 2026 BET Awards took place on Sunday night in LA, and Cardi B debuted with a fierce scarlet hairstyle during her live set.
You love me. You really love me.
And then Trayona Taylor given Icon of the Year award by her personal idol Janet Jackson. When writing that, I actually had to look up to see if Janet Jackson was alive, because I didn't believe that this was still a thing. Well, by still a thing, I thought, like, because the way I look it up, this is powered by Gemini. I look it up. I look for what's the top stories from this last week. What should I put down? And I pick and choose. When I saw this, I was like, is she still alive? I actually thought the AI confused this for like a previous year, like 2024 or something, because it has been known to do that. Why? Because it also mentioned in this last week that Gordon Ramsay was showing off his bike injury. But in reality, that was in 2024. And I got that in my news, and I ended up crossing it out because I'm like, I feel like I've seen that before. It might be getting viral again, for all I know. But, yeah, there's that. So I had to look that up. Not dead. I thought maybe I'm thinking of something else, because I'm just thinking of whenever I hear Janet Jackson, I'm just thinking of the Robin Williams comedy special when he's talking about Michael Jackson when he gets to heaven, and he's like is this I think something about his nose or something like that. He's like this is his, and then this is Latoya's or something like that. Maybe I'm confusing the two. Either way, yeah, I didn't know. I'm not into that world of television or entertainment. It's just what I found. So, and just another thing I found, Princess Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales. I had to keep all that, because otherwise I don't think anybody would have, or at least I didn't know any of this. I didn't really care on who they were. But they completed the grueling National Three Peaks Challenge to raise funds for the Royal Marsden Cancer Charity following her recovery. Well, at least there's something good there. So I didn't know. It doesn't mean too much to me for foreign leaders on what they do. What they do is what they do. But if they can do it in a positive way, that's always appreciated. So I do love that. And then last thing for celeb news, I didn't put this down anywhere else in my notes, but Tom Grassi completed his 30 and 30 on last Saturday. I went to go see him at Lambeau at the last place with me and my daughter, so there was that. And he raised over $1 million for charity, and I thought he did it on the day of. It turns out it was the day before Minnesota when he hit $1 million, but that's fine. He hit $1 million, so he'll be doing a follow-up stream, I guess in a little bit, within this next week, and streaming until he hits $1.5 million raised. And I believe that was for St. Jude was the 30 and 30, because it was 30 stadiums and 30 days. Yeah, so I got a picture. That was fun. My daughter's got to lose a tooth for that, so it's fine and all dandy. But for now, we're moving on to movie news, which then we have Toy Story 5 crushes the box office again with pulling $70 million domestically in the second week, which makes it currently at $300 million total. And that's just going off of Box Office Mojo. Supergirl, not so hot after $38 million its opening weekend, and the studio originally said it wanted $50 million. Apparently that was a quote from one of the higher ups. Don't take my word for it, look it up for yourself. This is just hearsay at this point. Am I citing anything? No, I said I used Gemini, which, again, could be off and all that. So, everything's with a grain of salt there. But, that being said, I'm going to be going to see Supergirl this Friday and Toy Story 5. Oh, look, another bot. AI viewers, Steam bot. AI viewers, Steam. Oh, man. It keeps going. I should really just maybe turn off Twitch if it keeps going like this. But anyway, when it comes down to that, I've been excited for Supergirl. I haven't seen really much anything else. I just saw that there's been comments from the actress that, I mean, I guess she said something that people don't agree with, and from an interview question, people are saying she pulled the Ziegler route. I haven't seen any of that. I honestly don't care about that. I just want to see the movie. Got to get back into reading the comic with my daughter because she's been busy doing other things, and I've been tired because it's been a long last couple of weeks. But that's for me to figure out. Jackass Best in Last premiered and took fourth after Obsession, which is also Obsession again, has been in theater now for 2 months and also made $9.8 million. So I went over this last week. I briefly went over it just now. Was that Obsession last week made $14 million. I am so confused about how this movie keeps rolling and how is it still got theaters. What theaters are packing this in? Because none of the theaters I'm aware of still have this movie in it. Like what? Because the theaters I'm used to seeing currently only have like 3 movies or 4 movies in it. So either they're doing really bad right now when it comes down to movies just being in the theater or people going to see them, or it's just, I thought it was just because of the 4th of July rush. But no, I'm just kind of confused by this whole thing.
Not a joke.
So, I mean, yeah, I'm just like Jackass too. Like, it came after that. Then again, Jackass is a certain type of thing. It was a cultural phenomenon, and I remember it gained real big popularity with the 3rd one because it was basically the last one, and I think it was also big because Ryan Dunn died. And that was like, oh, this is the final one. There's not going to be a old, and I think it did show Ryan Dunn as an old man in that. So, I mean, and I think I remember hearing when the 4th one came out, I think the 4th one, it was again one of those things where it's like, we're gonna do it, but we can't do it like we used to, essentially, and that's basically how they kind of marketed it as. And this one, and this next Jackass Best and Last, I don't recall it getting much marketing. First of all, second of all, I don't know if I feel like the water was tainted from the last one, being like, oh yeah, no, we can't do it like we used to. And they kind of did it again with this. They're like, yeah, we have these new people that are doing this. It's like, it's not the same. Like, there's a reason why people fell in love with the personalities that endured these pains. You don't know the personalities that are enduring those next pains. I guess you will over the time of a movie, but that's over the time of a movie, not over the time of like the show, which started, I believe. And again, it would, in my opinion, it would be like also like, oh, were they doing crap online? And if they were, I'm not aware of it, probably because it was suppressed by the algorithm because it was dangerous or something. That's my take on that. But hey, if it's on HBO Max or something like that I own, then maybe I'll see it. Because that was just one of those things. Let's see. Then we're on to TV shows. Avatar: The Last Airbender Season 2 hit Netflix with a episode binge premiere on June 25th, tracking the Aang's journey to Ba Sing Se. So, I'm curious about it. I don't say I think I'm going to go more than that into this, but I thought the show had a lot, or the cartoon had a lot more episodes leading up to the end of season 1. I could be wrong, and then I think, if I recall, the last season of Avatar was very short. But even, and I could be wrong on that too. But I remember like the first couple seasons taking like forever to go through, and I think it felt better when it came down to starting the personal grow, and then when you're finally in that momentum, then you kind of can roll with the shorter times, or like quicker on the draw, or maybe, I don't know, side quest stories. Ooh, I said the name of the show. But either way, I don't know if there was enough in this, because it was I don't know how many episodes are in the first season. I don't know. But I feel like you gotta play it out like a book more when you're doing a show. And if you can't keep all the details in, I don't know if you should make it into something like that. Even movies. I mean, take a look at the first movie, which was supposed to be the whole first season. Oh boy, what a disaster that was. And I'm talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender. The Bear officially ended its final 10-episode season on June 25th. So I'm assuming they just put everything all out at once. And so I was like, okay, there you go. So there's that. I kind of went over that from last week. Paramount Plus aired a critically praised episode of Criminal Minds about a killer targeting online cam girls and leaving cryptic amounts of cash in their throats. I almost read something else instead of cryptic. Freudian slip, maybe, but I didn't get to say it, so not a slip. I was thinking it. If you can think of what it is, write it down in the comments. Let me know. And then we're moving on. So that was TV show news. Now we can finally move on to music news from this last week. Clive Davis tributes pour in from music vets, artists, and producers in a synchronized digital tribute. A synchronized digital tribute. Sorry, I didn't put down the letter A after I wrote something. And I'm not going to read this again. World Cup concert circuit. Katy Perry and Twiz Luca launched music companion festival circuit for the U.S. World Cup campaign. So I guess they're just going to all these different venues, stadiums, and I guess doing a show there and show there and show there. I mean, that could be the same as doing anybody else doing the same thing, but I guess it's officially with the World Cup, concerning I guess you have pitches and whatnot you have to work with, so maybe it's after the games, because I know how they have to meticulously work with the fields and whatnot. Just did a stadium tour this last Saturday in Lambeau, so at least Lambeau's is particularly a field that is like half and half of fake and half real, so you gotta work with it. It's cool to learn about. And then we have Alan Jackson's final stadium tour in Nashville. There became rumors that he may retire. So yeah, I would assume so. If there was rumors of, I mean, I guess if there is a possibility of him retiring, if it's his final stadium tour and he's not making music, he could retire. He could, it's possible. It's always possible. I could retire. I wouldn't be living comfortably. I mean, a lot of things would go bad if I were to retire right now. I'm doing this and this is a side thing for fun. So, yeah, he could retire. He's a very, I wouldn't say old country star, but I remember him when I was a little boy, and he had just the deepest voice. Anyhow, other news: 2 devastating earthquakes hit Venezuela, collapsing multi-story buildings and an international airport terminal. So, unfortunately, disasters happen, and nobody could have expected the devastation of 2 earthquakes. So, hearts and prayers for the people there. And I know from what I heard, it was so bad that I heard that it was like over 50,000 people were missing at the time. Do I know how many are currently missing? No, but I need to get the Batman Zero Year. So, if you need to look that up, go look it up. Why are you looking for me for that answer? I'm the NPC. Anyways, so we got Star Wars news now. Mando and Grogu sunk to number 10 at the box office with 1.6 million take as it's constantly theater run dying, but that was what it said last week. So yeah, it seems like there's not going to be a theater that is going to be showing it anymore. Oh well. On June 25th, Star Wars Newsnet published a massive retrospective documentary exploring the classic MMOs Star Wars Galaxies. And this is going to showcase new insider details on LucasArts' forced mandate to add playable Jedi overnight and break the game's economy. I'm actually kind of curious to look into that, because the only MMO I really got into that was Star Wars that they had, and I guess it's still going, is Star Wars The Old Republic, which I tried to get to work on my PC at one point, and then it didn't update, and then I ran out of memory, and then trust me, my PC is not exactly great. Oh boy. There's a kickbot. Okay. Let's see. For every 2 Twitch bots, there's always seems to be a kickbot. So, and then YouTube's just perfectly normal. Funny enough. So, and who knows? Maybe that's because I'm on a subscriber mode. I don't know. I hope not, but it could be. But let's see. Anyway, so it's Star Wars Galaxies, and so I could not, for the life of me. Well, I wasn't playing anything at that time. I think I was playing on my Xbox. Because this is, I think, 2004-ish. So we're talking about, we're talking peak Star Wars console games. So there's nothing that I'm upset with about that. So I didn't lose anything.
You lose!
So there's that. And then let's go to add this final thing, and then we can move on to Zero Year. Fan viral pan. I said that so wrong. Viral. Oh boy. Fan viral campaign on Instagram and Threads seek to push Tales of Droids pitch for K2SO, Chopper, and AP-5. Do I know? I'm not on Instagram. I'm not on Threads. I don't know what those mean. I don't know what that means. I don't know if anybody else at Disney would see that. So it said it was viral, but I'm not on Instagram and I don't follow that kind of stuff. So that being said, I could definitely see a Tales of the Droids with Chopper. Maybe K2SO, only because I haven't seen Andor, so I don't know exactly if they covered that there. AP5, I'm trying to remember who AP5 is. And this is one I will look up Star Wars news. AP5. That's AP56. Oh, AP5 is the cataloging droid from Star Wars Rebels. So no, that would not, in my opinion, be a decent enough story. At least AP5. Definitely not. Maybe the little droid that was companion to, and I know this is going to anger some people who agree with me on saying The Last Jedi was not great. But if you take that little droid that was on the one wheel with the pointed nose from Star Wars Episode 9, take his background story, maybe there you might have a story for Tales of Droids, but for all I know, they're already planning on doing some form of story in that, or they already did in some book and they're just not planning on adapting it. I don't know. It's just what I think. So, and was that my last one? 13, yep. Yep, it was. So, and I haven't dropped any frames. 0 frames dropped. Great internet, no issues, and it's hot as hell outside. So stay cool if you are, I guess, in my area, but I'm southern. I'm not going to go too far into that. But, yeah, it's very hot in Wisconsin here. Very hot. But, I keep saying but. To recap many a thing, I have to figure out where we're starting off again. There we go. So I'm going to actually start this the way the book starts it, and then I'll do the recap, because we're doing technically flashback recap where we are. Okay, so we're going to start with that. We're going to go, because this honestly, in my opinion, did not play too much into the main plot of this episode or part. So this is part 8 of Batman Zero Year, or my part 8 of checking it out. And so yeah, we'll just start with how the book starts, because that's what I have in my notes. So we have the flashback to Bruce being picked up from the police after sneaking to see the movie. So Bruce wanted to see the movie because his dad was raving about it, because he's like, oh man, I saw this when I was a kid. So this is during, I'm assuming, during the time of when, movies weren't exactly on VHS, So you gotta think of the times of when this takes place. So the movie he went to go see was Zorro, and did I swear I did this. No, seems pretty straightforward. Yep. Okay, yeah, it is straightforward. Sorry. It sounds very familiar to something I've already read, probably because I've already read this episode or this thing, put it down, and now I'm relaying it. So, sorry, but Bruce told his dad that he thought it was dumb, and then his dad took offense. Was dumb? He's like, Bruce, no, I mean, corny. I mean, come on, it's a guy with a sword versus people with cannons. All in all, that was a little sweet moment at first, but then on the next page, Bruce apologizes for going out into the city by himself. And his dad explains to him, we want you to be there. We want you to be there for, you. It's dangerous in the city. It's like not going out nowadays. You don't let your kids go out and just wander in the dark alley in the city, I would assume. I don't know. If you do, I wouldn't. I question you. But especially when you're a rich, like the Waynes, like anything could, like you could really be in trouble with that. But they had to get to their benefit, I guess. But the solution was to see it again together right now. And Bruce was like, but you have your benefit. And then Bruce's mom, Martha, said, you've offended your father's honor, Bruce. There's no way out of this one. So then they go back to the theater so he can watch it again. And then you know what happens next. So that's a little tie-in to the day of Bruce sneaking out. Kind of explain the previous parts. So let me explain the previous parts. So this is Zero Year. Zero Year again is the beginning of Batman. So it's not year one. It's 0 year. It's basically figuring out the identity of the Bat. The Red Hood has already been taken care of, but then the Riddler has appeared and taken over the city. Why? Because he's been laying riddles after the defeat of the Red Hood, and he's been using a doctor called Dr. Halfern, who is also known as Dr. Death. Dr. Death is making a serum, or has made a serum, which which controls bones and whatnot, and meant to basically have people like be super durable and whatnot due to said bone density, increase, strength, and all that kind of stuff. So it's meant to help everyone, but turned into a bone monster, doing it by killing people. You know, very sickening stuff by that. But Bruce didn't know this. He did not realize this. This was all realized in the last episode, or part 7 of 0 Year. And what happened was Bruce was investigating, and because Bruce was investigating Nigma, or no, he was investigating Halfern because he thought he's the bigger threat. Whereas at the very end, he was searching the Gotham City catacombs where there's a bunch of bones and whatnot, finds the lab, and it was a trap for Batman because Riddler realized that's what he was up to. And Riddler was at the point, or is at the point where he was basically he had a thing in the air, a thing in sea, and a thing on land to basically do whatever you want, blow up things from very small things to very big things. It was a whole bunch of chemical reaction stuff. Very sciencey. I can't really get into it because I don't really necessarily know the science myself, because it's comic book science. But either way, basically, in doing this, we find out that there was a helmet, Tokyo Moon, which was related to another previous incident flashback that we saw from a different part. Ultimately, something with Halfern has something to do with Tokyo Moon and a desert, and possibly something to do with Bruce. Either way, when Bruce gets there, the first riddle was lost because Riddler at this point cut the power to everything during this big hurricane storm. And so the police end up, I believe, putting the power back on. Nope, that's in this one. So I'm getting ahead of myself. Either way, the Riddler's whole goal is to turn the power back on. Then he can basically control what he can, or everything, and do whatever he wants. And then, so it's get smart or die, as he put it. So, Batman. Oh yeah, Batman in the catacombs, the trap was bursting a hole in the wall, filling it up with water, and, burying the Batman in all the bones and whatnot. He ends up surviving, bursting out of the catacombs, bones flying everywhere. Ends up calling Jim Gordon, who's escorting kids and people onto a bus to get out of here because the flooding's getting really bad. So, Batman got blown up at the Gotham City catacombs looking for Dr. Death by the Riddler, who was working with Halfern. Batman busts out of the bones and calls Gordon immediately, whom is getting buses to evacuate the area. Batman then tells Gordon to get to Wayne Tower to tell the fellow cops to not turn the power back on. So, Nigma is in Wayne Tower. Why? Because everything all stems from the previous incidents, like a question mark with the period at Wayne Tower, which means Riddler's at Wayne Tower. The other thing was, hey, he's gonna control. Riddler's going to turn once the power gets turned back on. Riddler will have control of the city, like what I said previously. From the hub from the hubs he used to made when power surged. Boy, I didn't write that well. Nigma gets control as the power gets turned back on. So those are the two big points. Batman finally explains that combining the chems Halfern stole from the scientists, that's how Riddler's doing it. Land, sea, air, when power comes back on. So as he sends Gordon off to do that, Gordon asks Batman what he will do. And Batman says, I'm going to answer his riddle. So, then it cuts to Loeb, and he's in a blimp, and the pilot asking to get the power back on because they're in a blimp looking down, trying to do all this stuff. They look out, so everyone, look, what the heck is that? I'm using the safe language there. And then even Loeb has to laugh. You got people looking down on the ground in this rainy night. You have Barbara and their dog looking out. And then you have people at the Gotham City shelter to find the Bat Blimp. I don't know if that's visible for that because I'm using a background filter, but it dwarfs the GCPD blimp. And yes, the blimp came from Lucius before being fired by Philip. It uses oxygen as a ballast, like a sub. Oh, that was a yes. It was not bless. Yes, it was already black. So that was the big thing he said to Alfred. Let's see. So Batman's plan at this point is to get to the airship or the air weather balloon, because Batman knows that this is how he's got to do it. You take out one, you take them all out. But the thing is that he stole a hyper repeater to amplify the signal. With a weather balloon, if the signal is high enough, the range would reach the whole city. So basically, he's got a whole thing where okay, so Nigma's first plan one places pieces he took from Dr. Kevlar's something called a snake remote hacking hub. With it can break within 100 feet anything from insulin pumps to bridges and tunnel security. That's the best explanation I can give you there. So there's that. And then with the hyper repeater to amplify the signal, the higher it goes up, the stronger the signal, which will cover everyone. Batman needs to go to this thing to destroy it, because otherwise once the power gets turned on, Nigma can do that. Let's see. So he goes up into the maw of the hurricane to reach the weather balloon and stop it with a jammer if Batman can get close enough to it. So there is that. Alfred even has to say it's hopeless, and then Batman responds, then send your prayers to Jim Gordon. So in the meantime, let's see. Yep. Okay. So Gordon gets a hold of his old partner as he's making his way up through Wayne Tower. And basically, Corrigan dismisses Gordon and says Loeb is Loeb after this crisis would send Gordon back to Chicago. So basically, Gordon basically needs to. He's getting kicked out. He's being ignored, and yeah, nobody takes him seriously. So Batman, however, going back to him, so it goes back and forth here. As Batman uses his blimp, the starboard stabilizer gets destroyed by the storm just as he sees the balloon. His grapple, however. So Batman is thinking about using his grapple to get there. Can only go to 50 feet in length. So this is when he finally tells Alfred that he's going to use his jammer on him. So he uses he doesn't use his jammer, but the measuring distance on the distance gun says it's 58 feet. The Alfred says it's close to 70 feet. And Batman says the wind is mostly at my back. The range is 50 feet, by the way. Anywho, so Batman ends up taking a leap of faith. Kind of a version of your Dark Knight Returns kind of feel, except like a homage to the beginning, then the end kind of thing going on there. So there is that. He ends up jumping. Anyways, let's see. The grapple, 50 feet. Balloon distance, officially, from the thing. Distance thing. Monitor. 58 feet. Alfred, near 70 feet. Taking leap of faith. Makes it and climbs aboard, only to find Dr. Halfern at his, or not, with Batman at the feet of Dr. Halfern. So this is one of those things where I was telling you, hey, you might be better off picturing it, but this is pretty dang scary in my opinion for what Halfern is, to explain this bone monster. If you are listening to this without, watching, yeah, just continue to think of Bone Monster. Gordon finding Nigma now finds him with a string in his finger, holding up Phillips, or holding up. Oh, I gotta read this again. Excuse me. Gordon finding Nigma finds him with a string on his finger, holding up Phillips' office boulder above Gordon's head, which he promptly monologues to dropping. Because Gordon's like, "Oh, freeze, Nigma!" And then Nigma's like, "I wasn't expecting you. Let's go through this." We're talking about Archimedes, I think. Regardless of how much string. Archimedes, yes, it's true. Archimedes, you know he's who. It's true, Archimedes. You know he was said to have lifted a whole warship of men with his own strengths, with just some strong pulleys. So Gordon looks up. Oh, already I can feel the string loosening. Big surprise to Jim. Sorry for if you want dramaticness. He drops it, and Gordon ends up falling through with the boulder down. Not getting crushed. He dodged, but the boulder falls through the floor. Gordon goes down through the floor. Batman. Oh, and then somehow that reminded Riddler that he needs to tie up loose ends. Batman then fighting the skeleton creature Hellfern, who is very distorted. Hellfern believes people will be saved by his work. Sorry, thought it said wire. Thought it'd be saved by his work. Hellfern explains how Riddler convinced him and helped Hellfern with his research. So again, you were looking at that. That was a person, kind of like Killer Croc. So that, yeah, it's very demented as a person. Trying to jump over Hellfern, Batman loses the jammer because Hellfern ends up grabbing his cape. So no capes. So unfortunately that happened. So he ends up getting a swing at him. Jammer goes flying towards the end. Batman goes diving towards said jammer before it falls off. Nearly gets there, but then Hellfern stops him, and it falls off. He says, "Oh, too bad, my friend, too bad. But a little pain, little death, in order to give millions the means the armor themselves. Well, it's a small price." And then Batman's like, "You, a little pain?" And he says a swear. I don't know what swear, but it says swear. Let me help you with that. Now, Batman at this point seems to have lost it. He takes control from getting in, falls off the bar. Batman then takes control and breaks Hellfern and tangles him on the safety railing. Or yeah, he really does tangle him on the safety railing. Breaks off a new horn too, because Batman basically punches him right in the face really hard, breaking the bones, which then regrow, which then create a new type of looking monster because it's not growing back properly. So looking like that. So before he was on, let's see, can we do that? You can kind of see that his head was circular here. You can see it there. But then he turns into this kind of thing after Batman beats him up. Either way, he then literally just snaps it off. I don't know if that would have hurt, but it sounded like it would have hurt. Like he just used it, his bone, and he's just a creature. I don't know why he's wearing pants. I don't know if he has a bone there. And even then, you can tell his horn. Oh, please show it. Please show it. His horn is slightly coming back again. Like the one above my or underneath my nose is the one that wasn't snapped. The one that was snapped is right there growing back. So this is a big issue. Also, one of the horns is over one of his eyes. So But again, stuck in the he's tangled around the barricade, so nobody falls off. But going into the control breaks, blah blah blah, and entangles him on the safety railing, breaks off a new horn to destroy the machine. So he's using this horn to break the new machine. While Halfern calls Batman a warrior, Halfern then explains the story about his grandfather and father and the Tokyo Moon story. Oh, that's wrong way. My notes are need to go this way. We're almost done, guys. I think I sped too far into this. That's fine. I still have to get ready for work. Okay. So, what Halfern explains is about Tokyo Moon. And Tokyo Moon was written on a helmet that we saw in a flashback in the previous part to Batman Zero Year. We had no idea what it was about, just that it was on a desert. It was in the middle of a desert. It was on a helmet, on like a notepad. It said Tokyo Moon on it. That was it. And then this was just a supposedly easy job, but then not. Something happened in this desert that everybody died. There was also a thing about, I think, putting the connection together. Now, the song that was also stayed, where I had no idea what this, like, it was like 1946, a soldier was listening to this song. I'm like, this is weird. What's something about the song? I even looked it up, and I told you guys, was this a real song? And said, nope, this is a custom song. I'm like, okay, so I don't know what the importance of this was. Now we do. Because Tokyo Moon, it's sung from a sweetheart to her soldiers. She's assuring him that the moon will watch over him with her love and all those, or the love of for those who care for him. His grandfather heard it. So this is Dr. Halfern. My grandfather heard it in unoccupied Japan, 1946. He was taken with it. All of us, we write the phrases on our helmets when we go to war. So, they're warriors. They do it as a sign of luck. To remind us, we only need look at the sky. The bright circle there, you know it. My son, he put it there too. Tokyo Moon, as though it were enough. But enough, please. So, what Halfern ends up doing, as Batman is just trying to destroy the computer or the machine, Halfern ends up breaking off his bones so that he can go defeat, Bruce. It seems like he's kind of morphing more into a bigger monster again, proper monster. I could be wrong. I'll see on the next page. Batman ends up putting a little tiny explosive, or I'm assuming explosive, put some underneath the panel here. But turns out, so the full story was, following a clue into an empty desert looking for a tribe of nomads, it sounded harmless, or at least less dangerous than war. But see, the nomads had booby-trapped their tunnels, looking for Mr. Kane's errant nephew, Bruce Wayne. So, Halfern's son died because he was looking for Bruce Wayne in those tunnels, possibly because in those tunnels where Bruce was that prisoner in the ball in the previous episode where Alfred ended up calling, and we found out it was Alfred, where I originally thought it was Bruce's parents, as a dream sequence. Turns out it was real. It was just a flashback of Alfred calling him in this whole situation. Batman ends up getting stabbed by Halfern because of his, actions. And then picked up, and he explains, Halford explains, I understand the truth. The song of acknowledgement, the opposite of love protects no one. It is not enough. And then he explains, like, Bruce Wayne knows how to do this. Or, let's see, where is it? I am on my last note page. Sunday, so Halford's son, easier. So Halford's son did so as well. Halford helped send his son to an easier job instead of war. He sent him to a assist and grab kind of thing, a rumor. Let's just deal with this local militia. It's not war. Anyhow, didn't work out so well. The Nomads having booby-trapped tunnels, and Halford's son did. The Batman placing the small canister machine gets spun in monologue. Oh, another monologue. Excuse me. Let's see. Halford is breaking free quietly. Okay, so that's what happened. Batman is placing it. Okay, so I already did that. So Batman says, I say boom. Oh, so okay, hold on. I just skipped the whole thing. After a monologue. Batman places small canister in the machine, gets grabbed and spun, and monologued gets asked, what do you say? Batman says, I say boom. They go boom. That's how I have it written. Sorry, I was showing you just the top of my head. But then again, I don't know why I even have a picture. This should just be a, I don't know, blank screen, to be honest. Let's see. Then, Batman tells Halford to get the shrapnel out of him, or it will kill him. Because if you can't really tell, that's a boom. And a boom is like taking the whole upper half out of, like, if you've ever played Resident Evil 4, there's a guy that basically loses either his whole top half and he's got like feet on the ground, but then his whole upper half is just all like woo, woo. Either way, I'm sounding weird, but either way, that's what he looks like. So as Halford's like dying here, it says like, no, I'm ready. You tell my son's story. You tell people, don't fool yourselves. We are all alone. All of us. You tell them to follow that Bruce Wayne. He understands. Because again, I swear there's a spot in this that he explains perfectly on why. Yeah, it's the next page. It's not a previous page, it's the next page. He did the right thing. So yes, he says, tell him to follow Bruce Wayne, that he understands. He did the right thing, running away, forgetting those coming to help him. I'd have killed him for it, but it was the right thing. And Halford's own bones officially, can't really tell, officially, kill him. So, like popping his whole head or brain. I think it's because the bones finally hit his brain. And then, finally, back to the power plant people. 3, 2, 1... Let there be some stupid light. He didn't say stupid. So he ends up saying, "What? What's going on? It's not working. I don't know. It should be. Oh, it made a question mark. Oh no!" And as Riddler is outside of the window, or outside a building, escaping from Gordon, he gets a message from his briefcase saying, hub activated, alert. because it goes beep beep. And then Riddler says, "Oops, wrong answer, Gotham. Drunk tank for you all. Initiate in 5 minutes." And then he says, so he clicks that, and it says activate Riddle 2. And he goes off singing with his cane in the rain. Gordon comes out, saying, or getting a call from Batman saying, "Lieutenant, did you get him? Did you get Enigma?" "No, he got away." "Did you dismantle the device?" "Checking now." "Nope, that bomb did not do it. It's still intact." Repeating, it's still intact. Keep it all. I'll keep it all, or keep at it. But you have to stop the power. But little did they realize it was already put on. And that's when boom, 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 boom. Things in the city start blowing up. Restraining walls for the water around the city. So Loeb and them, Corrigan, do you copy? We need that power on now. Without power, there will be no pumping system in the subways, no damn relief services. The whole city will be flooded. Copy, Commissioner, but it's nothing responsible. Enigma seems to have taken control. Control of what? Everything, sir. And so in that, the cables to the blimps are detaching themselves now. So, which then are, the blimps are now blowing up then. Being struck by lightning. Being struck by lightning and blowing up. Multiple of them. Gordon's just watching this. The waters, as Gordon sees the floods coming in, he hops to the top of his car. Batman at this point in time is just doing anything he can, saying, "I should have listened to you, Gordon. There'd be no death. There'd be none of this. It's my fault, Gordon. I saw it wrong. You hear me?" Gordon's like, "I hear you." As we get flashbacks to after the movie the second time with Bruce and his father, where he's going, "Woo!" See? They go walking down the alley. Let's see. Batman using Justice Fist to destroy city in chaos, flooding. Flashbacks. We just realized too late. Gunshot. Blimp flies into building. Batman's... I'm going to just explain this on how this goes per panel. So, gunshot. Blimp flies into building, blowing up. Batman punching machine parts. Thomas Wayne falling down. People in flooded waters running. Batman's bare fist now left. Martha getting shot in the back. Crying. Ooh. In the head. Getting shot in the back of the head as she was following Thomas. Whew. That was not a graphic I was expecting. Then Batman seeing or having the part blow up starts to fall in towards the city covered in water, and then it shows the blimp falling down. I'm gonna just cover that up just because that's a little too graphic. I know it might not seem like it was graphic at first, but boy, I don't think I could put that. Bruce crying for help. How about that? They recognizes a face for once. So that was Batman Zero Year Part 8. I want to thank you for joining this episode of SideQuest. There was not much going on for this. I know it's 1 o'clock, so that just means I have to get ready for work. I thank you for joining me. If you feel like I missed something, if there was a detail I should have mentioned, at least in the 0 year, if there's anything on NPC News you think I could have done better or something I missed, let me know. Put it down in the comments below. I appreciate any likes that you can give me. Either way, thank you, and I would say take her easy. So you just gotta, nope. There we go. Bye.
Nice set of Hooters you got there.